Hey guys, and welcome back to PXH, also known as PureXHeart. Chris here, back again with another album review. And guys, of course, if you guys hit down that like button, that would be really much appreciated. And also comment down below what you guys thought about this album. And also, of course, again, if you're new here or a returning visitor, I always harp on all this stuff all the time. Hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps out this channel. So, like, comment, subscribe, it really helps out this channel. But anyway, let's get into it. Departures is the long-awaited solo project from Switchfoot's frontman, otherwise known as Jon Foreman. I've actually been listening to Switchfoot for a very long time, ever since I was a kid. I remember listening to albums New Way to Be Human, The Beautiful Letdown, just a few of my favorite Switchfoot albums, and it was actually very interesting because, getting a little bit background for, why he is actually creating solo stuff is not really because, hey, we want the band to not be together right now, because that's usually what happens for a lot of people whenever a lot of people go their solo projects. You look at Newsboys, that's basically what happened to them. Even sometimes with Reliant K or other stuff, DC Talk, that happened to them. It's just like, hey, we just want to take a little time. And it's actually really interesting, the knowing the backstory behind Jon Foreman's own solo stuff. He's been kind of doing it a little bit about around 2008, whenever really Switchfoot was really in its highest peak. And it was just really for more stuff as after parties of Switchfoot shows that he was just like, I crave for a little bit more intimate with these songs. And I really do love that about an artist that's just like, I care more about these songs than I care about getting famous. That's great, okay? I love an artist that's just like, I care more about the music than I do about the money, the fame. I care more about the artistry that is behind this. That's always a win in my playbook. That's really what his solo projects are, and Departures is really no different from any of that. And I love this album. Like, what's up with these, last few albums has just been, album of the year, album of the year, album of the year, boom, 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 boom. Going ahead and getting off 2021 to a really great start. This album is fantastic off the gate, okay? You begin into this album with basically almost a folk-like type of song that could also be a hymn, that could also be in a fantasy show. I think I was actually watching a fantasy show while I was listening to this song, which is called The Ocean Beyond the Sea. And it fit in there perfectly. I think the characters were talking or something was happening, and it just fit in there, perfectly. It was like, whoa, are you sure this is from the album and not from the show that's happening? Yes, I do that sometimes. This whole album sounds like it almost could be on a movie. You go into the next song, which is called Education, which you're just like, I wonder what he's teaching here. And it's actually really fun, because it is about love. And that is always something that we just need to be taught as, whether it be Christians or just people, of just how to love. I love this a little bit of a quote that he says in some of his songs, because he actually did release, hey, what is the meaning behind this song? What is the meaning behind this song? I really do enjoy that about artists whenever they're like, hey, yeah, music can basically be interpreted any such way, but if you see it from the artist perspective, it gets to a whole nother mindset and a whole nother deeper understanding, especially if it's I think this song means this, I think this song means this. Well, where is it coming from? The artist's own mindset. Jon Foreman says this, that sacrificial love is to lay down your life for the ones that mean the most to you. This often is portrayed as a desperate, heroic act near the end of the film, but outside of Hollywood, it looks far less glamorous. Changing diapers, packing lunches, taking a deep breath, and responding with kindness. You lose yourself when you love someone. And yet, this loss is truly what we are made for. What deep irony is it to lose yourself to find yourself? Boom, right there. Biblical message right there. It's a give and take, like breathing, absolutely necessary for life, and yet every breath you take brings you one breath closer to the grave. We give and take 20,000 breaths a day, give and take, give and take, which is basically the theme for this entire album, is basically the give and take of just of how life is. Sometimes life isn't perfect, but it's just like how do we love, which is really what he's trying to really hammer on to this point of this departures type of album, which has a hope in the midst of darkness, and to love in the midst of hatred, and to be joyful in the midst of whenever you want to be angry or be wrathful. It's really definitely a perfect album with that message of just saying, hey, love each other with kindness, okay? Like, don't be hatred, which is really, really, really hard to do. In fact, one of the best songs off of here, which is called Jesus, I Have My Doubts, literally portrays that, where it's just like, look, this world is really, really, really difficult, okay? Like, I don't understand what you're trying to play here, Jesus, or what's happening, what's on with the world, okay? Like, what are you trying to say? And he's doubting, which is very, very heartfelt, and like, I was just like, dude, that's literally what sometimes that was my mindset, is just like, Jesus, I have my doubts just about life, and just like faith. Is just like, are you sometimes even there? I really, really love, again, another behind the scene behind this story, which again really hammered home the fact of just how important listening to the artist of what the actual song is. One quote that he says is, doubt is a pain too lonely to know that faith is his twin brother, which is a quote by Khalil Gibran. I'm sorry if I misspoken that name. And I love this right here. Like this part that I'm about to say is, I don't believe in a God who's afraid of my questions. I don't believe in a God who's afraid of me, because a God that cannot be questioned doesn't sound like a God at all. Part of believing is to doubt, to ask, to seek, to know, to knock, and ultimately to find. Maybe we are far too reserved with our gods, and are our gods that delicate, or are we? This is a song that steps into the ring with God, asking the big questions at the end of a long, difficult season. This song is his honest attempts to sing into his doubts. We have a God that we're able to, like, literally in his word to say, to seek is to know me. To lose yourself is to know me. Okay, we have a God that's just like, dude, like a lot of these things that is said is almost paradoxical in some aspects of life, where it's just like, wait, so we have to die to live again? How does that make any sense in human mindscapes, which is fantastic? We have to leave the old behind, we have to depart from the old, and we have to embrace the new, okay? We have to destroy the sin in our lives and embrace what God has for us, which is fantastic. It's definitely a message that not only I needed, but I think like the whole Christian landscape needs. I know I'm like talking a lot about this album, but it's just like, I'm like literally passionate about like this stuff right here of just, this again is what music is supposed to be. There's nothing better than of just this album, and just the emotional qualities that it has, and the really thought process, and really the uplifting nature, okay? This is what I mean by the way that Christian songs should be uplifting, okay? They're introspective, okay? They make you think, okay? They're not like, hey, be happy just because what Jesus did. It's like, no, be happy because of all this stuff, okay? Ask questions to God, okay? Don't be like, okay, why should I just be happy? Well, you should just be happy just to be happy. It's like, well, that makes no sense, okay? That makes no sense, okay? I'm like going through this rough time, okay? I can't be happy just to be happy. It's like, sometimes it's rough, okay? And Foreman like really, really understands what is happening in not only today's society, but like literally the world's culture, whether it be Christian culture or whether it be society culture that, we live in, where it's just like, it's rough, it's hard, but, day by day we can still do it. And I love right after Jesus, I Have My Doubts, we have the fantastic worship song, which is Thanks Be to God, which is thanking God even in the hard times. So basically, Jesus, I have my doubts, but thank you, God, for being so great and what you have done on the cross. And it's really fantastic. Definitely a song that I think that should be done in worship atmospheres. In fact, there's a lot of songs that worship musicians should include in some of their set lists. It's fantastic. A lot of these songs do provide a spiritual boom, like in your heart, where it's just like, I'm thinking about that, but yet I'm praising to God about that, which is literally fantastic for a Christian album, where it just makes you think outside the box and not be like, hey, do this, hey, do that, hey, do this, hey, do that, hey, do that, da 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 da. Like, that's not the way that Christianity should be. And there's probably some aspects where it's like, hey, yeah, I mean, maybe, do that. It's just like, where, we love one another, okay? It was just like, well, that makes perfect sense. It's like, and then, if it's just like, okay, well, why should we love one another? He literally, Jon does a fantastic explanation throughout this entire album of why we should love one another. And there's so many great songs of here that I really think that you guys should listen to, and honestly, just give this album a listen to. But not only should you buy and support this album and get this album and listen to it repeatedly, but I think that this album is definitely worth praise hands worthy. It's fantastic, it's lovely, it's everything in between of amazingness, okay? Is probably like one of my favorite albums of 2021. Like, this is fantastic. I love all these albums. I love the music quality of every single song. There's really not much qualms I have with this album. It's just fantastic. It's literally one of the best albums that I probably like to listen to. Probably one of my favorite Jon Foreman albums, maybe even better than The Beautiful Letdown, which I know probably like, what? But whenever you listen to the song, you truly start to understand of how amazing that, not only of how great God is, but of how just great music is, and of how great it just speaks to us, and just that longing deep inside of our heart that we just kind of need in a little bit here and there. But as always, you guys hit down that like button, of course, and comment down below what you guys thought about this album. And also, just comment down below, just anything. Just say what's up, how you guys are doing. What has been your favorite album, whether it be Christian or secular. It's always great to hear, what you guys want me to review, whether it be the past, future, present, you guys name it. Put it down in those comments, and I will review it, okay? Preferably a Christian album. I will definitely review that Christian album. But I can also review a movie, whether it be Christian or non-Christian. You guys put it down in those comments, and I will get to it. And also topics. You guys put down the topics, and I will get to it. There may be a surprise video in the coming weeks, so definitely hit down that subscribe button and also notify. That's one thing I don't really do, is really subscribe to that notified, bro. Which is kind of cool, which is that little bell icon, so you guys can be updated whenever I release a video, rather than going all the way onto the YouTube every single week and be like, oh, did he upload a video this time or did he not? There's that. If there's nothing else, go off Jesus and change the culture. Boom. Bye.